Hey guys, it's a Friction here, Tiger Tank 12. However you call me, I don't really care. Welcome back to World of Tanks Weekly. Now, this is the second time that I'm making this video because, the other one was just way too long. So I'm gonna be shortening it down by a bit. And today we have two topics. We're gonna be talking about the Myrni 13 Halloween special that is coming up in a week on the 25th of October. I'm going to give you a little bit of a sneak peek, some details, what we can expect. I'm going to be linking the video that Wargaming have made in the description below as well. If you haven't seen it yet, go watch it. It's quite interesting. And then we're going to be checking out some stats on the Italian Tier 9 heavy tank, the Progetto 50 mod something. I think it was C50 mod 49 or something like that. So yeah, but without further ado, let's jump right into Myrni 13. I'm not going to be reading into any of this stuff, to be fair. I'm just going to give you like the gross, basic main understanding what this mode is all about. So Myrni 13 is a small oil-producing town in Soviet Russia that does show very weird anomalies. And what ended up happening is that they sent in some scouts. Now this is the lore. They sent in some scouts in their tanks because of the high radiation to check out what is happening in that town. And these scouts have not returned. So it is our task as the players to move into the town and to see what is happening there. And this is going to be probably connected to the Waffenträger, the last Waffenträger event with the Krüger, the German mad scientist who was the creator of the Waffenträger of E100. I remember that when you destroyed him, he would say something of the likes that he would return, and that was not the last time you would see him. Obviously, it makes sense to kind of interconnect those kind of storylines and put them in together, and you can see here on the thumbnail of this video, there's a lot of information that we can already gather, that there's like a big power source, a generator somewhere on this map, that the vehicles that we'll be using to fight him will have these power charges that we also had on the Thunderbolt. And you can see that there's like a T-54, there's an M103, there's a Centurion over there. That is, I think, the AIM-X version, and that could be the T-49 over there. But yeah, we do not know which vehicles we'll be able to use, but I think they could be on the line. I don't think Wargaming would use so much of their resources just to put in other vehicles in the end. So basically, the military high command has sent in more scouts to check out what's going on, and there are rumors that this special or all these anomalies are coming from a military testing site very close to it, but the military obviously denies it as always. So this is like an aerial photograph that they were showing us. It looks really kind of neat. It's supposed to be the Ghost Town map. I'm not entirely sure if it's still called Ghost Town. The Soviet map that is a little town that is kind of abandoned, which has been in the game now for 2 years, I think, where you have like some really pointy mountains and rocks, and the town looks very distorted and like filled with stuff. And here I think you can even see some of the radiation on the picture that has been taken. So that's a very hostile kind of place to be. So as already mentioned, so we have like the execution, we have the vehicles, the enemies. So we have different types of enemies in there, hostile vehicles, and they're telling you about what they have not been able to really capture any of the hostile vehicles. So they only have like drawings of them, and the vehicles have like these special electromagnetic enhancements to protect them from the radiation. So it's just like the Thunderbolts, I think. And the final or the goal right here is that as a platoon you move in, and there are like different dimensions this is quite interesting. So like that there are supposed to be different dimensions and gateways that you drive to the next dimension, and where you're fighting with your vehicles to get to the final place, which probably is going to be the reactor. And that's quite interesting. We don't know how it's going to be looking, like the dimensions, what if it's like really changing the game landscape, and like there are several maps, that would be really cool. But I don't think that it's going to be like that. I think it's just going to be changing the dimensions with other enemies that are coming in, that kind of stuff. So it's another PvE test for World of Tanks for Wargaming. So right here, these are the enemies. We have the object 017F, codename Hedgehog. It's an explosive ball that on impact gets destroyed, and it's very lightly armored, and it can operate in groups and by itself. And they're very mobile, very fast, so be careful when you're engaging them. It looks like a sea mine, and I think that's what the inspiration came from. The next is the Rabbit, the object 008R. It is a light vehicle that does not like to be engaged, so it's driving away, and it's basically just to scout. And yeah, it has high maneuverability, lightly armored, and it does leave like a fire trail when it's driving past you. So the fire trail is coming out of the vehicle in the back. There is some kind of leakage. I'm not sure if that fire trail will do damage, but it could be quite interesting mechanic if they would put that in. Then we have the Guard. These are like heavy and medium tanks that are not very special. They attack in groups, can be dangerous in groups, but other than that, they're no real threat. At least that's what they put right in there. But there is some kind of lead vehicle. If there's a lead vehicle with them, it can pose as a threat. But other than that, they are not supposed to be that dangerous. So I think this is going to be the main grunt enemy out there. Then moving on, we have the object 009H, which looks like an E50 or E50M. And you can see they're really dangerous. They're called Hunters. And they kind of remind me of the Predator from the Aliens vs. Predator series. And they have very good survivability. They have a lot of damage, and they like to ram. That's exactly what we like to hear from this vehicle. They hunt in groups, up to 3 vehicles, and they're persistent. So they will not stop unless you're dead. So this is going to be quite interesting to see how they're going to be implementing all these AI changes in this game mode. Number 5 is the Immortal tank, the Object 703 reskinned, I think. And this tank is supposedly like either 4 stories high as a building, or it's really small because there's some red haze covering it. This vehicle is supposed to be very, very heavily armored, almost impenetrable, as they're saying, and you should not even try to engage it. So that's quite interesting to say that from their point of view. So it could be that this is a vehicle that you just cannot engage, so you just have to run away, which gives you a little bit of a additional task that you have to keep your eyes out. And the number 6 is the Mosquito, or these are all the tanks that are immobile. These are kind of turrets that are in positions. They have very high accuracy, very powerful guns, and they're very dangerous if you do not pay attention to them. So there are 6 different enemy types. I don't think we have any PvP elements. This is probably just going to be a main PvE event. I would be rather surprised if they add another PvP element with some other vehicle, somebody being able to play maybe the Immortal, but I don't think that's going to be the case. So that's basically all the information that we have so far. I think I can generally say what kind of a game mode it's going to be, but we're going to wait until the 25th, and then I'm going to make a video about this game mode and show you guys what to do, how to play it, and we're going to see more of that. So let's move on to the other topic and finish off this World of Tanks Weekly. So we're going to be talking about the Progetto C50 Mod 66. This is the Tier 9 Italian heavy tank. It has a 1,850 HP, 690 horsepower engine with a mass of 52 tons max. 45 kilometers top speed going forwards, 12 kilometers top speeds in reverse, hull turning speed of 29.2 degrees per second, 26 0.07 degrees per second turret turning speed, and a view range of 390 meters. All of these stats are still subject to change, so these could be changed any second until the vehicle comes out, so keep that in mind. But it's like a standard tier 9 vehicle. 1850 HP is not a lot, to be fair. Certainly a interesting number though. I think this is for all the upgraded versions, like fully upgraded with the top turret as well. You have 130 millimeters of hull armor at the front, 70 on the side and 40 on the rear. That is quite interesting. 130 millimeters on the front part of your hull is not a lot, but with certain angles it could be good enough. This tank does have 9 degrees of gun depression, so being on a hill or on a ridge could be quite beneficial for this vehicle. It has 195 millimeters of armor on the turret, 105 on the side, 45 on the rear. So yeah, that is... The armor doesn't scream heavy tank, to be fair, but it's like a perfect class in between heavies and mediums for like all the people that like to transition between those heavy medium tank vehicles. And it could be great for both, you know. Doesn't have the best armor, doesn't have the worst mobility, and just that's how you can transition between mediums to heavies or heavies to mediums. I think very good kind of line for that. Then you have 3 options of guns. You have 205 millimeter guns, the 71, the 76, and then you have a 120 millimeter gun, the 62. And I think this is probably going to be the stock gun, the 71. Then the 76 is going to be the second gun that you can unlock. And the 62 is going to be the main gun, in my opinion, because it has the best DPM. If we compare it right here, it has 2,286 DPM versus the 1,920. We don't have the DPM for the 71 gun. It has the best pen on premium, second best with AP or non-premium shells, with 242 and 258 over here. The caliber is obviously different, so the alpha with 400 versus 320, that's going to be making quite a difference. And you can see that the DPM on the 120mm gun is better than on the 105mm gun, which is quite interesting in my opinion. Has to do with the alpha, it has to do with the non-big increase of, you know, or the reduction of the reload time. It is an auto reloader, so it has 3 rounds and it has 4 seconds reload in between the shots, 16.3 seconds for the first shot, 14.4 for the second, 10.5 for the third. And you can see it's not a big difference from the 15 seconds on the first one on the 105mm gun, 13 seconds on the second, and 10 seconds on the last shell. So yeah, the reload time is very similar, just like 3 seconds less reload on the 105mm gun. And the other stats are similar as well. The accuracy was 0.36 at 100 meters instead of that 0.35 dispersion, and the aim time with 2.7 instead of the 2.6. So you should probably go for the 120mm gun, because that also sports 120 millimeters of pen with the high explosive shell, or the HES shell, whatever it's going to be equipped with eventually. Because the 105 millimeters is very good as well, but the 120, that is very good for a heavy tank. It's like the Super Conqueror. That is something that I would definitely look forward to if I would get this vehicle. It's not a tier 10, so 120 at tier 9, that is pretty damn impressive. So, yeah, I think you have like 4 crew members, you have 39 shells or 39 rounds. That is, I think, good enough. But overall, this vehicle, it doesn't seem to be overpowered with any of the stats. It seems to be fitting quite well into the line, and I think these stats look reasonable at tier 9, certainly. Seems to be very well balanced so far. I think the Renault Chironte wasn't too bad either. So this wraps up this World of Tanks weekly session. This time around, no real styles or anything like it, but I hope you guys did still enjoy. If you did, as always, comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next video.